5 on Your Side starts now with breaking news.
We start tonight with breaking news. Right now, a shooting involving a police officer in O'Fallon, Illinois is under investigation. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. The shooting happened around 9:45 on West Madison Drive, not far from J. Emmett Hinchcliffe Elementary. We want to check in with 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon. He just arrived at the scene. Brent?
Yeah, we've been in touch with police about this one. Let me go ahead and get out of the way right now and paint the scene, let you see exactly what we're seeing as we see it. As you can see, lots of authorities here on West Madison Drive. We're hearing that the call came in just before 8 o'clock tonight. And all we know with certainty at this time is that an O'Fallon, Illinois officer opened fire on a suspect. At this hour, we are working to figure out what may have led up to that officer opening fire. There are a lot of reports surfacing about whether or not some type of violence was happening at the time that police responded to and ended up opening fire on that male suspect. We're also working to determine how that suspect is doing at this time, whether or not there were injuries or whether or not that suspect lost his life or not. These are details that we're working to confirm. Again, a very active scene here. As you can see, police and authorities here on West Madison Drive in O'Fallon, Illinois. I can also tell you that the Illinois State Police is now handling this investigation. We have questions in to both ISP and O'Fallon, Illinois Police Department to get answers to the many points that I mentioned that we just don't know yet. What I can tell you, an active scene and an officer opened fire on a suspect right here in this pretty quiet residential neighborhood. Even as we speak, at this 10 o'clock hour, neighbors are standing outside, many of them alarmed and with questions on their minds, as you can imagine. We're all over this one, and we're going to keep you posted just as soon as we learn more. For now, that is the very latest from O'Fallon, Illinois. Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
Okay, thank you, Brent, and we will keep you updated on this story as it continues to develop on air, online, and on the free 5+ streaming app. Well, tonight, a heartfelt reunion between a victim from this week's home explosion in North St. Louis County and a Good Samaritan who arrived just in time. Yesterday, we introduced you to a woman who pleaded for help finding the man who ran to the scene to help that chaotic morning. Brent Solomon was working on this story before this breaking news in O'Fallon. He has the update the woman was hoping for.
It's the passionate plea you saw here on 5 on Your Side Thursday.
To the gentleman that came over through the neighborhood and first called 911 when we asked him and waited with the young man, I want to say thank you. You're a hero. I would like to be able to thank you and give you a hug.
A day later, we caught up with Sheila Calvin outside of her damaged home.
So I got 2 rooms and they put me in it for 14 days.
As she updated us on not being able to get inside, she didn't know she was about to be reunited with a familiar face. Ricky Mann says the man who showed up to Evan Air Drive Monday comforting strangers after a sudden home explosion and subsequent fires. He just happened to be in the area.
When he pulled up, I was like, please help us. Our house has exploded. No hesitation.
He called 911 and then found Deontay Anthony Jr., the 18-year-old with burns now covering 85% of his body.
He acted as a safety net for the young man that didn't have nobody.
Right.
Because that other man was out here by himself.
I just talked to him the whole time, trying to keep him posed.
Stayed till the ambulance came.
So he wouldn't be frightened or, feel alone. We moved them from over here because the flames were getting big and stuff was still flying in the area. So we moved them. I moved them down the street to across the street over here, and we laid him on the ground.
He waited with him until an ambulance could get there.
He's a good Samaritan. He's a hero because he stayed. Thank you so much for doing that for the young man. You hear me?
Brent Solomon, 5 on Your Side.
Mance and Calvin say they have now formed a bond. They are working together to try to go see the teenager as he recovers in the hospital. This as community leaders and first responders continue to distribute donated items to help the 20-plus families impacted by this ordeal. Missouri is the next state calling on lawmakers to redraw its congressional map. Today, Republican Governor Mike Kehoe said he is authorizing a special session to vote on the new map. Kehoe says this new map splits fewer counties and municipalities while keeping 2 districts the same. He also claims all current Congress members will stay in the districts they represent. The new map could mean another Republican seat in the House from the Kansas City area. The governor says the move will put Missouri interests first.
In Missouri, Republicans hold over 90% of local county offices and have held every statewide seat. Missourians are more alike than we are different. And our Missouri values across both sides of the aisle are closer to each other than those of the extreme left representation of New York, California, and even as close as Illinois. This is about clarity for voters.
Missouri is following in the
ownership of our
footsteps of
future.
Texas, which just passed a new map today. California Democrats began plans to redraw its maps to offset those changes. Missouri is the 3rd state to pursue mid-decade redistricting for partisan advantage. The special session scheduled to start September 3rd. And but not everyone is happy with this. Democratic Congressman and representative of Missouri's 1st Congressional District, Wesley Bell, says Republicans are cheating in service to the president. And he goes on to say Republicans are willing to sell out their integrity to keep a weak man happy. That is the choice they have made, and history will remember them for siding with tyranny. Meanwhile, Missouri's 2nd District Representative and Republican Ann Wagner applauded the governor's move. She says, quote, "I fully support Governor Kehoe's call for an extraordinary session of the Missouri General Assembly to reform initiative petition policy and better align our state's congressional districts to reflect Missouri's values." St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery will stay in office for now. Today, a judge denied an effort by Missouri's Attorney General to remove him immediately. This comes just a day after prosecutors indicted Montgomery on misdemeanor charges tied to the incident when he placed a jail commissioner in handcuffs. Attorney General Andrew Bailey's office argues if the case had been brought to a state court, it could amount to felony kidnapping. But defense attorneys say the case against the sheriff is being exaggerated. Presiding Judge Stephen Omer ended up refusing to remove the sheriff despite the indictment.
I am pleased that he recognized that, you know, the world hasn't come crashing down simply because the feds here detain her. This due process will have its day. Evidence and facts will have
Montgomery is
its day.
due back in state court in November for a trial that will decide whether he will still be sheriff. Until then, his federal case continues under strict bond conditions that includes a ban on carrying a gun or using any form of marijuana. Tonight, a family mourns 3 people killed in an East St. Louis house fire. The home belonged to 94-year-old Sylvester Reeves, lovingly known as Miss Bobby. She died along with her son Pierre, Maylee, and 65-year-old Cheryl Johnson. Loved ones say Maylee took care of his mother, and the pair often cooked for neighbors. The first call for help came just before 7 this morning when a passerby saw smoke coming from the house and flames shooting out of the window.
We all were afraid that they had already passed by the time, we all saw it, because it was just gaining momentum so fast. The fire was just, you could see just more and more smoke coming out of the windows, and we didn't hear anybody. You didn't hear anybody, yelling or anything. So I think we all just hope for the best.
Officials say the victims were found in the back of the home. Investigators are looking into what caused it. We have a wonderful update tonight on a story we have been following closely. The 13-year-old found in a St. Francis County ravine is out of the hospital. 13-year-old Cody Trinkle fell 240 feet into a ravine near Goose Creek Lake in July. He was there for 3 days until police found him alive, though he had suffered severe injuries, including a brain bleed. After being placed in a medically induced coma, Cody started a long road to recovery. After weeks of rehab, he is not only walking again, he even is rock climbing as part of his recovery journey. His mother says the police investigation into the incident is still ongoing. Coming up, how much weight can a water lily hold? The Missouri Botanical Garden tried to find out. The worldwide competition we nearly won.
And we're in the mid-80s this afternoon across the region, nice and dry as well. This weekend will be much of the same, pleasant the second half of the weekend, but the big focus will be on some rain back into the forecast. We'll detail that out coming up next.
The Missouri Botanical Garden took silver in a global lily pad weigh-off. The competition was started by the Denver Botanic Gardens. A particular water lily species called the longwood hybrid can carry incredible loads thanks to its size and structure. 40 gardens across 9 countries tested out how much weight their lily pads could hold. We weighed ours last week. It held 182 pounds, just 1 pound shy of the winner. The Bach Tower Gardens in Florida won this year with a lily pad that can hold 183 pounds. Well, it's Labor Day weekend, and meteorologist Lance Blocker has more on the cool summer send-off. How long will this weather last?
Well, we've got great weather through the weekend. That's really the headline. Tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit warmer, though, just like we saw today. Highs back into the mid-80s, but we should stay dry. A few clouds will pass through. Looking ahead to the rest of the weekend, Sunday, a little bit cooler. That boundary moves down to the shift, so highs only topping out in the low 80s. Then Monday, some cloud cover helps. That keeps us in the upper 70s. In fact, as we move through the next few days, we'll stay mostly dry. We'll zoom on in. You can see the forecast models like to show a little bit of rain to us on Sunday. Not going to happen. It's too dry at the surface, and then it falls. That'll evaporate. Beyond that mark, our next better chance of rain arrives with this cold front. Looks like it'll be Wednesday afternoon or evening. Still going to time that out a little bit, but should bring our next best chance of maybe some scattered showers and storms. Nothing too heavy, though, mostly around 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 inch of rain across the area. We'll refine that as we get a little bit closer on into next week. Again, that's the middle of the week, so the weekend is looking great. We'll see it in detail here. Temperatures tomorrow in the mid-80s, low 80s, Sunday, Monday. And as we expand this out a little bit here, a few clouds roll through the region on Monday, but again, no real chance of rain. It's another disturbance where there's some moisture in the higher levels of the atmosphere and we're dry at the ground. So anything that does fall, that's going to evaporate pretty quickly as we look towards Tuesday and then Wednesday. That's our better chance of rain. Maybe a stray shower or storm on Tuesday, then scattered showers and storms. But the bigger deal here, too, temperatures fall after that front.
Loving that.
Yeah,
all
no
right.
doubt.
Thanks, Lance. Thanks for joining us at 10. We're always streaming your local news and weather on 5+. Now here's Corey Miller and Andy Kroll with 5 on your sideline.